This is the story of Leonardo da Vinci, the polymath of the Renaissance. Leonardo da Vinci stands as one of history's most celebrated geniuses, a man whose achievements in art, science, and innovation continue to inspire humanity. Known as the ultimate Renaissance polymath, Leonardo's life bridges the gap between art and science, imagination and intellect. The early years of Leonardo da Vinci, spanning from his birth in 1452 to his adolescence in 1466. It explores his humble beginnings, early influences, and the spark of creativity that ignited his journey toward becoming an icon of the Renaissance. This is the story of a young boy in a small Tuscan town, destined to change the course of history. On April 15, 1452, in the quiet town of Vinci, nestled in the rolling hills of Tuscany, Leonardo was born. At first glance, his birth might have seemed unremarkable, but history was about to witness the arrival of an immortal mind. Leonardo was the illegitimate son of Ser Piero, a prosperous notary, and Caterina, a poor peasant woman. His illegitimacy, a societal stigma during the 15th century, excluded him from many privileges enjoyed by legitimate sons. Yet this very status also freed Leonardo from the rigid expectations of his father's profession, allowing his creativity to flourish. The small village of Vinci, surrounded by the natural beauty of Tuscany, served as the perfect setting for Leonardo's formative years. Here, nature became his first teacher, sharpening his senses and instilling in him a lifelong love of observation. Leonardo's family background deeply influenced his childhood. His father, Ser Piero, was an affluent and well-connected man, yet his illegitimate son was not fully integrated into his household. Nevertheless, Ser Piero took some responsibility for Leonardo, ensuring he received basic education in reading, writing, and arithmetic. Caterina, on the other hand, had a more modest influence. While little is recorded about her role in Leonardo's upbringing, it is evident that her humble origins gave Leonardo an early understanding of class divisions and the challenges they presented. Despite his illegitimacy, Leonardo always carried an extraordinary sense of ambition, a determination to transcend societal barriers. As a child, Leonardo exhibited an insatiable curiosity and unmatched observational skills. In the countryside of Vinci, he developed a deep connection with nature, sketching animals, drawing trees, and pondering the mechanics of the world around him. These early explorations were more than just pastimes, they were the seeds of a polymathic mind that would eventually span disciplines ranging from painting, to anatomy, to engineering. Denied a formal classical education because of his illegitimacy, Leonardo relied on his innate curiosity to fuel his learning. He sought knowledge in everything around him, studying natural phenomena with an intensity few could match. Even as a child, he was known for asking profound questions, questions that reflected an extraordinary hunger to understand how things worked. In Vinci, a small town formed in the shadow of Florence's cultural grandeur, Leonardo found himself in an environment ripe for intellectual growth. Tuscany's verdant landscapes were alive with rivers, forests, and a wealth of flora and fauna, all of which would inspire his later works. At the same time, Vinci was close enough to Florence, the beating heart of the Renaissance, to feel its cultural influence. While Leonardo's access to the city would come later in life, the ideas and values of this thriving intellectual hub began to trickle into his world. The Renaissance itself celebrated innovation and sought to bridge art and science, principles that would come to define Leonardo's life. Leonardo's artistic talent began to reveal itself at an early age. He spent hours sketching everything he saw: birds in flight, water flowing over rocks, and the play of light and shadow on everyday objects. These drawings were not just childhood doodles, they were detailed studies of the world, marked by a precision and artistry far beyond his years. His ability to capture movement and emotion even in these early works hinted at the masterpieces yet to come. Young Leonardo's artistic promise did not go unnoticed. His sketches showcased not only his eye for detail but also his burgeoning understanding of geometry, anatomy, and perspective, foundations that would define the Renaissance style. During the 15th century, illegitimate children often faced significant social and educational restrictions. For Leonardo, this meant exclusion from formal classical education, which typically covered Latin, Greek, literature, and rhetoric. This gap in traditional schooling might have seemed like a disadvantage, but it also pushed Leonardo towards self-directed learning. Where others might have relied on books and formal instruction, Leonardo turned to the world around him. His curiosity spurred him to learn through observation and experimentation, planting the seeds of the scientific method that he would pioneer centuries later. More than any schoolroom, the natural world shaped Leonardo da Vinci's mind. The countryside of Vinci was both his classroom and his laboratory. He spent countless hours observing the way birds flew, how water carved through stone, and how clouds gathered in the sky. These observations became the foundation of Leonardo's scientific and artistic achievements. By studying nature so intimately, he developed an unparalleled understanding of its forms, which he would later synthesize into inventions, theories, and works of art. Although Ser Piero did not formalize Leonardo's education, he played an important role in exposing him to opportunities. As a notary, Ser Piero's profession revealed the intellectual circles of Florence. It was likely through his father's connections that Leonardo would later secure his apprenticeship under Andrea del Verrocchio, one of Florence's most renowned artists and innovators. Ser Piero's recognition of Leonardo's budding talent was pivotal. While the illegitimacy of their relationship complicated matters, his father's support ensured that Leonardo's gifts did not go unnoticed or unpolished. Without the structure of a conventional curriculum, young Leonardo relied on his internal drive to educate himself. He combined creativity with logic, sketching new ideas while questioning existing knowledge. He was particularly fascinated by how things worked, whether it was the anatomy of animals or the mechanics of simple tools. This period of unstructured exploration fostered the independence that would define Leonardo's later studies. He refused to accept traditional ideas without testing them, marking the beginning of a lifelong pattern of innovation and experimentation. Even as a child, Leonardo's brilliance transcended art. His keen interest in the natural sciences, engineering, and anatomy began to intersect with his artistic pursuits. He was not content simply to depict the world, he wanted to understand it. This approach set him apart from his peers and laid the groundwork for his future as a polymath, a master of many disciplines. Leonardo's multidisciplinary learning would become a hallmark of his genius, allowing him to see connections others missed. His upbringing inspired him to view the world holistically, where art and science were interconnected rather than separate. By the time Leonardo reached his teenage years, his talents were undeniable. His father, recognizing his potential, arranged for an apprenticeship with Andrea del Verrocchio, a renowned Florentine artist and engineer. This transition marked the beginning of Leonardo's professional journey, a path that would solidify his place in history. But it is these early years, from sketching in the fields of Vinci to developing his independent methods of learning, that set the stage for Leonardo's extraordinary life. This documentary captures the genesis of a legend, offering a glimpse into the beginnings of a man who would redefine art, science, and human potential. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories about legendary figures, untold myths, and timeless tales.